Hello, this is Jared playing Oxygen Not Included, starting a new game, this time going to the lab. Now, the last time I went to the lab, I failed spectacularly on the mid to end point in this game. I am not going to allow that to happen again. This time, I'm going to be telling the story of the Oxygen Kingdom as I play and advance in this. Our kingdom's being destroyed. An asteroid has smashed into our planet. It is indeed doomsday. But I've got a plan. I can teleport the king and his subjects to an asteroid. I found one, in fact. This one has technology I want to get my hands on. It is centuries above where we are. It doesn't take much to convince the king. I mentioned there's lots of gold over here. And away we go. The first three to get sent, of course, have to include the king, by his own decree. Loves riding around in his horse all day, traveling, but that's about his only real interest. If you want to ask him for something, get him in the morning. That's when he's in the best mood. He's a loud sleeper, but insists to sleep away from the rest of the subjects, so that's not really an issue. Then there's the King's Guard. Very strong and athletic, and good at putting things together. The only bad thing to say about them is the fact that they get sick more than the rest of us. Then there's me, the King's Mage. I love spending time reading books. I'm not a picky eater, but if anything, I tend to use the washroom more than everyone else. When we first arrive, the king is delighted. I can smell gold just behind that sandstone. Get digging, guys. I cast a spell to look behind the sandstone and realize, oh no, there's just copper ore. It's going to take a little bit longer to get to some gold. We're going to have to concentrate on getting a comfortable place for the king to sleep and use the washroom. We get digging, and of course, the king's just watching us because he doesn't like lifting a finger. As the king's guard is doing some digging, he reveals a new critter. The king decides to call it a hatch. It looks like a friendly little thing. The king says, looks pretty tasty. Oh yeah, that's right. The king's a carnivore. First priority is get a barracks for the king. If they have to sleep on the floor, we're probably going to lose our heads. With the barracks for the king, we put doors here so that the shine bug doesn't get in. If that shine bug reached the king while they were sleeping, we'd never hear the end of it. Next priority is to make a throne for the king. Now, we don't want carbon dioxide to be there while the king's on the throne, so let's dig out a little pit for that. The throne for the king is nearly ready. Before it is actually able to be used, I have to throw in some royal dirt. Soon as that is set, the king takes the throne. It really enjoys the latrine that they're in while they're there. With the barracks and latrine, there's just one more thing to attend to before we're able to retire for the night. And that's the fact that carbon dioxide has filled the king's bed. So we dig out a spot, but make sure they have a ladder so they're able to walk across easily. We've made it to the end of the first cycle. We find something to eat, we're able to use the washroom, and we all have our own barracks. The king, of course, with their own. As we all head off to bed, I think to myself, I better build a laboratory tomorrow. If I want to keep up with the needs of the king, I'm going to need more research. First thing in the morning, the king sits down and finds some food. A little bit of muck root. Yeah, they're not going to enjoy that. We're going to have to increase their quality of food in time. For the time being, though, it's going to at least sustain them so we can continue on. In the morning, we realize we're also covered in a lot of germs. It'd be very nice if we could get access to some water so we can wash our hands after using the toilet. With another research station, I'm going to be able to have a laboratory. Need a little bit of power for research stations. We'll do that in a little bit. I would love to get in the laboratory today. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, because the focus is getting water. We do not want to have any of us get sick, in particular, the king. We're going to move their cot up here and get a pitcher pump for this water so that we can fill up this wash basin. With the pitcher pump together, it's ready to dig out this water area, so we'll have access to that. Waste no time filling some water and making my way to the wash basin. This is going to make it so we can wash our hands tonight. Very useful. So we've set up a barracks for the king again. We've got a place for them to use the washroom, which is really good because, well, they've looked better. With the last bit of the day, we install some wires. That's going to allow me to do some research soon, so I can improve the condition of the king, because they're not enjoying their food, but, well, it is what it is for now. In the night, the guard sleeps close to the king. I hope he doesn't think I'm a threat. I'm finally going to have some time to myself in the laboratory today. I just have to decide what to research first. I could put a flower pot for the king. They'd really like sleeping next to that. Ooh, a water cooler. I'm sure they would enjoy a refreshment. The other option is a mess table. It would be very comfortable for them to be able to eat at instead of on the floor, but that's going to take a little bit longer. I think the first thing I should research is this water cooler. The guard produces some power while I do some research. We're just about to finish the research on a water cooler. There it is. We're so proud of ourselves. Let's make this a room to put in for the king. The guard and I are discussing a really cool plan. We're going to put this water cooler in its own room, and it's going to have a planter box with it, so it'll be very pretty for the king to be able to enjoy. We're going to have to do some research for that planter box, though. With power charged up once again, we get to the research stations. We can do it! We can make a flower pot. Let's put that right there. As we're about to build a flower pot, I realize my magic is charged enough I can bring another subject over here. Who's it gonna be? I decide to bring over the smith next. They're not actually the best machinist in the land. They got the title because the king once lost their golden ring in the middle of the lake, and this was the only person that was able to actually dive down to get it. The smith joins. This gives us a little bit of joy. We explain everything that's gone on and decide the next priority is to get a cot for them. The king enjoys some time in the new recreation room we've built for them. We're going to be able to enjoy it at the end of our day, but we've got more work. I think the next thing I've got to research is a table to be able to eat at, or we're all going to lose our minds. It's the end of another day. Very glad the smith is here to join us. It's going to increase our construction speed. Research on this mess table is nearly complete. This is going to really increase our morale. The king orders us to put the mess hall on the very top. He wants to be able to eat way up high. We decide to open it up a little bit so that oxygen can get up there while we're eating. After we create a mess hall, the king decides, no, that's not good enough. I want a great hall. Give me some decorations, a water cooler, and make it bigger. Well, we followed the king's orders as best as we could. We got 4 chairs for us to eat at a big table. We've got a water cooler, but we didn't find a seed to plant a nice plant in there. Tomorrow we're going to be looking for potential seed, a nice plant like we have in our recreational room. Well, that is my first episode of this series of the Oxygen Kingdom. Thank you for watching. Thanks anyone for liking, subscribing. And hopefully I will see you in the next episode where we'll carry on. I plan to get much further than I ever have, and oxygen not included.